So the next speaker we have is Mr. Bhavesh Dalal. He's a Financial Services Associate Director, the rainmaker known for his charismatic influence in a world of connections, a unique blend of ambition and a tender heart. He brought hope and compassion to many, leaving an indelible mark as a symbol of resistance. Mr. Bhavesh, the stage is yours.
Oh my God, Bala, what a wonderful opportunity. Thank you. I really, really feel so blessed being amongst all of you, all the fellow half-breaks. So many inspiring stories, but I must confess, I'm stressed. Yeah. And I know that I'm standing between all of us and the lunch break. So I think some of us are really hungry, including myself. So I'll make it an effort to stay within the 15 minutes time. Yep. Again, once again, thank you for the opportunity. Raw stories. So when I called Bala yesterday, in my own typical usual sync, I asked Bala, do I need to prepare any PowerPoint slides? Is there a script? Yeah. And Bala said, Bhavesh, it's raw stories. Yeah. It must be from your heart. It must be natural. And I was like, wow, it's been a while, right? In the world of artificial intelligence, ChatGPT, which we are trying to cope up, what Bala is doing is truly amazing. It's a movement, and I'm so proud to be associated with the Half-Break. Yeah. Thank you, Bala. Raw stories, yeah. So I think life as a journey, we have had our own ups and downs. We have been experiencing the beauty of high and lows, right? Likewise, for me, I started my journey in Singapore in 1997, 27 December. Prior to which, I come from India, Mumbai. That's my motherland. That's my land of birth. And I was asked to focus or talk about setbacks. So without further ado, yesterday I sat back and actually counted all the setbacks. And when I was doing that reflection, which we seldom do in today's time, I realized one thing, that setbacks actually laid the path to future opportunities, to blessings. If there was no setback, I wouldn't be here. So like all of us, we have gone through our own journeys. But to begin with a little bit of mine, I'm actually reborn. The reason why I say I'm reborn is because on 22nd April 1996, while on my way to my in-plant training, I'm a chemical engineer by qualification, not practicing anymore. Mistakes happen. But yeah, 22nd April 1996, I met with a road traffic accident. I was in a bus. It collided with a diesel tanker. Fortunately, it was empty. I slipped in coma. So I was just going through my discharge summary yesterday, and I found that I was on a ventilator for 3 days. Not meant to live. Right. Little did I realize that I lost my friend, and he, in fact, passed away as a result of the accident on my laps. I only figured out 3 months later because I was in coma, and then the music began, the journey began. I was handicapped, 13 operations, lasting over a period of 8 years, in and out of the hospital. The discharge summary also clearly states that I am having multiple ugly scars all over my body, which probably my wife can testify. Yeah, and skin grafting done, bone grafting done, and pre-COVID, 2019, I just climbed Mount Egan. So, yeah. So that's when I decided to relabel my thoughts a little bit. I'm a product of prayers. If not for that miracle in my life, if not for the blessings from so many strangers, loved ones who saw my plight in the hospital, I wouldn't be alive. So I always tell myself that I'm a product of prayers. And this is my second inning, right? So I think when I speak to my children or a lot of people whom I speak on a one-to-one basis, is always relating it back to sports. Although I'm not very sporty, obviously, but when we play cricket or we play soccer, it's always the second innings that is always more thrilling, that is more interesting. And I really, really hope that the second innings of my life can be something meaningful, so that when I see the light again, I'm able to tell God or Mother Nature that, well, I did my best. So during my stage in coma and through the recovery, going through in and out of the hospital, reminding me continuously that if I'm back with some kind of purpose. So I started to figure out, so what's the purpose of life? What's the purpose of life? And then eventually, after a lot of deliberation, because at that point in time I was 19, and I didn't have any mission, vision per se. So I said, well, the purpose of life is to live a life of purpose. And I live by that, even today. Right. When people ask me to do my vision, I cannot speak about numbers, that I cannot speak about, having X amount of properties here, this is the net worth I want to have, and things like that. But I always talk about one thing, which is human capital. Yeah. I want to be surrounded by a lot of people who inspire me, a lot of people from whom I can learn, and as a lot of you mentioned, I live the moment. So yeah, the first setback was my accident. If not for the accident, I would not have taken a drop from my education. And if not for that, I would not be interviewed by a few organizations, and I would not be in Singapore. So that's when I realized that setback actually paves the path for future opportunities. So I came to Singapore when I was 21, to be exact, and I started studying. So I was on a student's pass for some time, and then eventually I saw the full circle, which is moving from student's pass to work permit, and then work permit to Q2 employment pass, and then becoming a PR, and then eventually Singapore citizen. So Singapore has been the cornerstone. Singapore is my land of karma. It has given me my identity, and I'm very grateful to Singapore and all the Singaporeans who have given me enough encouragement, enough inspiration at different walks, at different times in my life to come where I am today. So now talking about the second setback. Before getting my PR, I was working for a multinational firm as an engineer, and 4th August 2004, I received my Singapore PR. 18th August 2004, my company, organization at that point in time, went through a restructuring exercise, and I was retrenched. 14 days before, I got my PR. I'm the only child. I have no siblings. Having gone through what I've gone through, my parents told me, well, your holiday in Singapore is over, come back. And I told them, well, if not for the PR, I would have probably come back. But now that I have a PR, let me do my best. So if that was a setback, that setback laid the foundation for me to actually reflect that what other walks of life or what other careers that I want to pursue. So after my retrenchment, although I had opportunities back in the engineering sector, I decided to start as an insurance agent, right? So when people talk about insurance, I could resonate because 13 operations, handicap for 18 months, I'm sure the insurance companies may not be very happy doing a lot of my claims. Yeah. So I said, okay, that's one way. I want to give back. So I started my journey in financial services back then. So as a result of that, when I started in that business, which is, all of us, we know, sales itself tends to be a business of rejection. But what that rejection led to is connectivity. I made numerous connections. I had a lot of people who were resourceful. I had a lot of people who gave me tough lessons. And in that process, I started to have my family life. When I got married, my wife, who's here with me, I always tell her that we speak about the heart, and she always tells me, I'm in your heart. We talk about the heart and we talk about the brain, but I see her as my backbone. Yep. If not for her, I wouldn't be standing here in front of you. So thank you, Dipali. Yeah, thank you. Yeah. And she has literally stood by me, even when my own parents were skeptical. They say, how many people do you know in sales? You have never done sales. You know, my father comes from a 9-to-5 job. Then I said, no, I will try. I want to make it work. And that's when I told my wife, that point in time she was pregnant, and I told her that, well, I could be driving now that I have a PR, I could be driving a cab. I can be working in 7-Eleven, but I want to give all out. I want to try. This is my pursuit. And she supported me. In that process, we went through the ups and downs. She went through a very phase where she had a miscarriage, and things took a roller coaster. Based or commission-based income. So, n number of challenges, making ends meet. You know, the bank account used to go empty before, you know, the end of the month. So when we say making ends meet, then I discovered is which one come faster? End of the month come faster or end of the bank account come faster? And it was always end of the bank account. Before end of the month, the bank account is empty already, you know. So, but all that I did during that point in time was to build my connectivity, was to build my circle, and was to be of service. Because having blessed by a second life, I always saw myself as a resource. And that's how people used to tell me. My clients, who are my friends now, a lot of them, I have some critics around who are my dearest friends, whom I look upon. I thank Hemant for being here today. He's one of my closest friends, a client. That's how we started our journey today. So a lot of times when I met people like them, when I learned from them, I realized that it's all about perception. Setbacks are relative. To me, a setback can really bring me down. But to some people, they see setbacks as, hey, this is an opportunity, right? Why don't you overturn it? It's about perspective. So that's the point in time. I went through a lot of mental conditioning, and when I talk to the younger generations right now, you know, and I try to cope up with the Instagrammable language, because I think we are in the TikTok generation. So when Bala told me 15 minutes, I said, well, 15 minutes can be too long, because we are in the 15-second generation, you know, Facebook stories, Instagram, TikTok. Yeah. So how to convey that? And the traditional way, when we start with gratitude and we start thanking people, sometimes we realize that I had so many people to thank for yesterday when I made my list that, 15 minutes over already by the time I finished thanking people, right? So I reserved some of it for my after session. But when I continued my journey in financial services, which was all going well, after which, the other agency which I joined, suddenly on the day of Deepavali, we call it Dhanteras, Lakshmi Puja, they announced that the insurance agency is going to close and they are transiting. So particularly talking about setback at that point in time on an auspicious day, I didn't know what to do. That's something that I had built is now again coming to a stop. And I have to restructure, reprogram myself, and restart. So that's when I realized that, well, man proposes, God disposes. But then I also understood, you must propose lah. You never propose, God also don't know what to dispose, correct? So that's when I started to propose a lot of things. And from there, when I started my journey with the career that I am right now in financial services, with every setback that I go through or with every challenge that I go through, I just psych myself. It's just changing the way we think. It's sometimes, as some of us rightly mentioned, the law of attraction or thoughts become things. So it's what you brew inside or what eventually it depends on how you look at it and how you start working towards it. Yeah. So I think I'm nervous now. Probably, yeah, that's all I can share in the short span of time. Once again, I think I would like to thank Bala. I would like to thank all the people who are here to encourage me. My wife Dipali, my son Panav, my father-in-law who's here, who himself has been very, very inspirational. If there is someone whom I can look upon for encouragement, someone who has built his business from scratch, is none other than my father-in-law. I'm so blessed that he's here today. Thank you, Sugandhya, my colleague and a family member now. Very, very blessed to have all of you here. Yeah, thank you. Wow, thank you. Oh, okay, so can I request all of you to come on the stage, please? Bala is requesting. Thank you. Oh, Baba. Thank you, guys. Thank you for having me here, Bala. Thank you.